Okay, Dennis, Salva, Victor. Let's see. Okay, seven, great. Okay, just to confirm, they are in already, right?
Yeah, yes, they're in already.
All
They
right,
can
got
actually
it.
hear us. Yeah.
Oh, for some reason, I can't seem to see them. Maybe
It's just
if it's me problem.
for
Oh,
now.
okay, okay. Okay, great. Dennis, Ethan, Salva. Right, let me just do a quick attendance, like school. Uh, we're still waiting for 6 parts, please. Next five. September. Good. Okay, Apex audit is here. All right, I think we shall start. Okay, we don't have the complete teams yet, Manu, but I shall start. Okay, so we don't
All right.
take much of everyone's time. So hello everyone and welcome to the third workshop of Hedera Incubator. So today our speaker, Manu, the CEO of Hedera, will be covering this workshop entitled How to Build and Launch a Business in Web3 on Hedera. So later on, of course, Manu will deep dive into the objectives of this workshop and the outcomes we're expecting from this session. Plus, he will also share again what is the assignment for this specific workshop. Once again, it's very important for us to do this assignment because this is our assessment. If you have learned anything and you understand what the workshop is about, and this is also for your project, definitely. Okay, so just to share as well, I'll be putting this on our chat here. Hmm?
Sorry?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
hold on. Go ahead.
all right, so let's get started.
Okay, yeah, sure. Go ahead, Manu.
All right, perfect. So, well, thanks, Charlene. Well, today, I wanted to, introduce everyone a bit of the experience that we've gotten from building on Web3 for almost 5 years. We started with Kabila, and over these last years, we've been building a lot of different products. And the idea today is, provide, at least some tips on how to, or at least some of the experiences that we got from those journeys. So the just the first thing, a bit of context, of myself. I am the CEO and co-founder of Kabila. Kabila was the initial company that we started back in 2021, although we've been working since 2021 as a team and officially created the company back in 2022. So Gavila has been one of the most active Web3 B2C ecosystem companies in the other ecosystem. We've been doing very different Web3 products, such as the most important or the most well-known for Gavila, which was the self-service launchpad. It was the first NFT launchpad that was self-service on Hedera. So any creator could just come, create a collection, create the launchpad, set up the rules, set up the pre-sale phases, set up the different rules for the launch, and then just hit launch and have other people come and connect their wallets and buy their NFTs. We have also worked on and built the NFT toolkit, which were a set of different tools, more than 15 tools for such as token creation, NFT management tools, snapshot tools, Launchpad, of course. Then we also had the art engine. We've also have bulk sender features so that you could send thousands of NFTs and fungible tokens with the cost and speed of the Ether network. Then we had the marketplace. I will be showing around some of those products now. And then we also built our own non-custodial wallet because we needed this product initially for being able to process batch transactions. So when signing the minting of 1,000 of NFTs, you have to have a specific wallet that was able to sign multiple batch transactions in one shot. And then since 2026, after we started doing some extra development services for B2B companies, we started working on Bravalta, which is a DLT and AI company, more focused on the B2B side. So we provide the blockchain development services and AI integration services for enterprises. So just a quick overall, I mean, we've shipped more than 20 products. We've done more than 500 NFT launches on Hedera since 2022. We are an official Hashgraph partner. So we are, for example, working with Hashgraph on developing the developer playground that we will see now and the portal. And since 2026, as I was mentioning, we kind of like have created this new brand within the same company where we are also providing B2B services. So first thing that I wanted to approach and see with you, this is some of the main things, main questions in the ecosystem when looking to fundraise in Web3 with fungible tokens versus non-fungible tokens or NFT collections. I know this is not the best time, but I also know that, I mean, for fundraising with tokens, but this is also the best time to build and create the base for when the right time comes, have everything ready and do your launch. Now, it's an important decision whether to launch a fungible token or NFT collection. I've had this argument with many creators and founders, and always my approach has been you should always start with NFTs. Not always, but almost always. And we will see when it makes sense, one thing or the other thing. But this is one of the main problems I see. Founders that come to the space that they do not have a product in production or with traction, or they do not have the experience of launching an NFT, even a single, small collection, and they want to go ahead with one of the most difficult things, which is launching a fungible token with everything that comes with that. So I would always, unless you're a very experienced Web3 founder and you have had other launches before, do not start with FT. Start with NFT collections. So here are some of the the differences. No, the first one is its complexity. No, at the end of the day, when you launch a fungible token, you need to think on creating liquidity pools. You need to think on listings, indexes, and taxes. That also comes with some cost, but also complexity, and there's a lot of work and management and documentation and negotiation. So it's a long process that makes you just be focused on that and almost have no time for your product, your community, your sales, everything. And then of course, normally you need to or do your own market making or hire a market maker, for the token stability. Whether with NFT collection, it's pretty simple and straightforward. You just create your NFT collection and you just mint the collection through a launchpad, or you can even, just send them away or airdrop them. It's a much more simple process, and you get the same outcome. I mean, at the end of the day, you can fundraise and then you can offer a token with some benefits and utility. Then regulation, it's much higher with fungible tokens, or at least higher. And then with NFT collections, most of the time they're out of this, at least in this latest regulation. So it's much simpler. You don't even, in many cases, you don't even need a white paper. If it's a real NFT collection, which is NFTs are different. Okay, if they are all the same, then it could be considered that it's a fungible token. So then you might need regulation stuff. Then capital required again, fungible tokens. They are very intensive in listings, in pool liquidity, in market making. It's a lot of money. So again, and again, it's a one-shot business most of the times. I'm not saying always, but it's really not the best business as much people think. Okay, it makes sense when you have some sort of volume. When you have a big community, a lot of traction, then it might start to make sense, but not before that. Whilst launching an NFT collection, I put here that it's a few thousand dollars. But now today with AI, you can get even the art yourself, or just start with a a unique design NFT collection, so you can decrease a lot the cost. Even less than $500, you can have an NFT collection ready. Um, then the supply control with NFTs, you can somehow control much better the supply. So you could start with and we always recommend doing batch minting. So you could start with 100 NFTs or 200 NFTs and eventually add more NFTs and mint more NFTs. Then with secondary royalties, this is one of the most important things. On a fungible token, every time there is a token transaction, you don't get anything. Whilst when you have NFTs, every time there is a secondary transaction, you'll be getting 5 to 7% of that transaction. So if you have a good community and there's some sort of trading, you will get those fees directly to your wallet. And then the time to launch. Fungible tokens, at least 3 to 6 months. NFT collections, 2 to 4 weeks. It's something that makes sense. Well, this is kind of like what we were talking about. Now, well, these are, I mean, for example, this is something we didn't mention, but a PFP is the most underrated growth engine in Web3, and I agree. As you know, NFTs, one of the main differences is that they come with an image, they come with the art. So you can have a PFP that is unique and that you can show in social media, as you have seen, probably in many other brands, so that you can, show that you're part of a community. If you have a rare one, you could show it. So if the art is done right, it can be a very good tool for engagement and community building. And then another good thing I was mentioning is the royalties, but it's important to mention that on Hedera, they are enforced. So there's no way of, removing those royalties, even if the marketplace wants to remove them. So this is an important thing. Okay, so again, you can think about launching a fungible token only when you have shipped an NFT collection first, at least a small one, even if it's 100 pieces or 200 pieces. I mean, I would say that's the minimum before considering launching a fungible token. An NFT collection is a fungible token in a small or simpler version. It's, I think, a required step before getting into a fungible token. I believe you should have at least 10K recurring users. If not, I don't think the dynamics of launching a fungible token would make any sense. You need a good mass, you need volume so that the liquidity that comes with a fungible token makes sense for DeFi strategies, for utility, for everything that comes with the benefits that come with a fungible token. They need yourself to have at least a community and some recurring users. And it's important that, of course, it's not a token based on, vibes or hype or speculation. They should always have real utility, and you should have a plan. It doesn't have, and it should not be complex. It should not be fancy. It has to be something simple that you can leverage, that adds some sort of value to your community, and it's relevant to your product. And important that it's not going to cost you a fortune in terms of time and money once it's out there to provide that utility. So these are the main things. I know that I've mentioned these many times, and I know that founders eventually end up just starting with a fungible token. Um, even experienced founders, they found it very hard, to launch a token that, gets real traction, that gets used by the real core utility. It's not many that go through these, but when you are not an experienced founder, the most frequent thing that will happen is that you will be launching your fungible token, you will be spending a lot of money, and then everything will revolve about token price. And once the speculation goes away, all your product, all your, building just kind of fades, and it's just all about the pricing and why the price is going down and why are you not doing new stuff. And it really becomes kind of like a liability for the project. So always recommend, if thinking on launching a fungible token, get at least to this point where you have an NFT collection already launched, a community and a recurring base of 10K users, which means that you already have a product in Web3 that has is been adding value, and then you have a real tokenomics and utility strategy behind that token. Now, when launching an NFT collection, when we were working with some of those projects that were launching and they want to do things right, we ended up seeing that there were 5 steps to create a good NFT collection launch or strategy. So the first one is branding and storytelling. You need to be able, I mean, there is a lot of noise in Web3, there, especially when there is hype and there is activity and there is attention. So there are going to be a lot of projects. I mean, this field is this industry is, all or nothing. So when there is all, you need to really make everyone understand very clearly who you are, what are you doing, why are you doing that, and if possible, the story behind, why you started and what's the problem that you were trying to solve. So this is an important thing. Keep it simple, but keep it there. The second thing is community. You don't have to start with a huge community. We started with a Discord channel with 300 followers, and we launched a first batch of NFTs of just 100 NFTs, and they sold out very quick. So it was a small community, small batch. We learned a lot. We got the first excited community holders that got their NFT. Then the NFT, started, raising in value, which was fine. But at the end of the day, we weren't promising anything. We were just building and providing utility and benefits to those NFTs. And that's a way of creating a community in an organic and natural and I would say a fair way. Then launch a strategy. Okay, how many NFTs are you going to be launching? It's going to be the whole collection fully minted and sold in one batch, or are you going to be doing, batch minting? Are you going to be providing a private stage, private phase for your most loyal holders or members? How are you going to timing? How are you going to be doing the timing of the different phases? If it's going to be 5 minutes per phase, or it's going to be 30 minutes or 1 hour, it might seem like something that it's not as relevant, but I always recommend as short as possible stages. So stage one, private phase, 5 minutes. If you are there in 5 minutes, you have plenty of time to click, connect your wallet, and buy the NFT that you need. And it helps with the I would say it helps, make it creates an energy towards that mint. And it's not like, okay, you have 24 hours to buy. So I mean, you want everyone to be there in 15 minutes. So it's kind of like a short fun party that everyone should be there. Everyone should be excited. People will be chatting on Discord or Twitter that they are, minting what they minted. So that's a short window of attention. You need to have that between 20 to 40 to 1 hour, 20 to 40 minutes or 1 hour maximum time frame. Then utility, again, it's important. It won't be the main thing people buy. The main reason will be being part of a community, or they think that there might be there might be buying a valuable piece of a digital asset that will come with sufficient benefits. And then I it's very important that you keep it simple, okay? Do not overpromise and under delivery. under promise and over delivery is always the best way to do. And finally, but last but not least, is the art. It's probably one of the, and I would say the most important driver of the price for an NFT. People buy what they like. And normally, if you look at the best collections, they normally have the best art. It doesn't mean it's art that you will always like. Art is, everyone likes different stuff. But it's very important that the art, it's a curated art. It's something you've spent time and energy and love because that, people will tell. So find the time to work on good art. Try to work with a good designer or illustrator and come up with a good collection because it will tell a lot about everything else. And then finally, it's the brand one pager. So okay, you have a lot of you know the why, you know the what. You have a good business idea. Yeah, you have a good team. You have a good collection, good art. You know the supply. You have created all these strategy and tokenomics and utility and different phases, but all that is in your mind. People are busy, especially in Web3. It's very, very, very important that you create a one pager so that in one page you have the most important things. And I'm going to show some examples of that for some other places we work with so that you can move this document in social media, in your newsletter, with other community partners, with everyone at least 2 weeks before launch day. So that you make sure that everyone has seen that document, they have read and in a quick way they have understood, okay, what I'm going to get if I get into this community or if I buy this NFT, what's going to be the price, what's going to be the mint date and exact time, what's going to be the price for the mint. So those details, it's where you want to make sure everyone knows before mint day, and do not um, think that people will know. You have to be persistent on sharing these documents. So let me show very quick a few examples of that. So, oh, sorry. Okay, so this is one from Legends of the Past, one gaming project company, one of the first ones on Hedera. So I love the design. I mean, they've really put some love here, and it was, really, you had the partners below, you had the roadmap here, you understood kind of like the game. Then you have here the information on the token ID, the pieces for sale, the date of the mint, where private sales price, the benefits of owning one of these infinity jars within their game. So very cool one pager. I mean, it was perfect. I loved it. This was one from Mark Rice. Mark Rice is one of the most renowned artists on Hedera, and he's done the Just PFPR collection. And this was very simple but very effective. This is actually I like it even more because it's very simple and it's something you will definitely read. It's easy to read, it's clear, it doesn't have any accessory things that you don't need. So this was a very good one. Okay. You will definitely, if you get these, you will definitely go through it. And then this was one of the first ones that we did. It might have a bit of too much text, but it was also a good one. It had the information about the token launch, token ID. We also provided some details from last, launches. So, we somehow provided information of the whole collection and some other past launches, as well as KPIs from the platform. All right, so that's a one pager. Important to have that ready 2 weeks before any sort of launches and then move it as much as you can. All right, so I'm gonna get into block two. If anyone has a question, just let me know or ping me or just put it in the chat and I will take a look. Now, the building products in Web3. In general, there is not like huge difference between building a product in Web3 and in Web2. At the end of the day, you need to find product market fit. At the end of the day, you need to, find a pain or find something that needs a solution, and you will have to work and make sure that you have your unit economics and you have your business model and everything right. Now, it's true that Web3 adds something new, which is the blockchain. So there are three main things that I think differ from just building a software or a company in Web2. So the first one is security. And I want to state this is a very important thing. Okay, we will check now here, some of the main things, but this is kind of like the key thing. At the end of the day, in Web3, your first security mistake, it can be your last. You have done everything right. You have spent months or even years, a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of energy building a product, and then you have one critical error in your smart contract, and then everything is over in one day. It is that hard. It's tough, but it is what it is in Web3. Okay, at the end of the day, it's not like it's in Web2, for example. If you have an issue, man, you can just go and update the whole app, and that's fine. Maybe the users get out of service for a few hours or maybe less, but that's it. It's not good, but it's not a financial issue. Here, everything it's always involving, or almost always, especially if you're in DeFi, involving a wallet. So whenever you're involved in a wallet, it means that your dApp will need to be connected with a wallet. So your dApp will probably have smart contracts and wallet connect connectors, and you will have to be dealing with tokens and different smart contracts. So it's very important that you take, if you're going to be building in Web3, that you understand the risks. A lot of companies do not understand the risks, and they just think, okay, we will check it later. There is only one mistake you can make, and it can be the last that you make. So find the time to bring someone to your team that is an expert in security. If not, try to hire someone as a freelance, and if not, or maybe you can have one, but I will always recommend before production, try to find some funding for at least auditing the smart contracts. Those audits can go from 3, 4K if you negotiate very hard to 10, 15K depending on the complexity and the auditor. Um, Auditors that we've had good experience with are Hacken. They are good, they are reliable, they have very good service, and you can negotiate with them a pricing that fits your needs. So Hacken is one. The other one is Halborn. We haven't worked a lot with them, but the experience that we've had and the things that we have seen from them, it's pretty good. So yeah, I think Halborn is also a very good one. Um, and then there's others like ThirtTick, QuantStamp. Those are more expensive ones. They are better ones. Or at least they have it's a different level of security. But again, I want to emphasize, do not leave security for a later stage. If you're getting into production, get everything right from the security. Get obsessed on security. Yeah, that's how I would put it. Um, I have seen many projects that I would trust their teams, the tech teams. Many projects that I would think they had everything right, they had everything under control, and even if they did, there if you were a hacker, you will definitely be working or spending your time in Web3, which is where if you hack something, you get everything is financial. So it's a place where there is a lot of hacks. Hacks are growing with AI. If you are around, you will see that it's just getting crazy in how many new hacks of smart contracts, of protocols, of dApps, wallets we are seeing. because of these new AI agents and LLMs that we are getting. And for example, with Mythos, from Cloud, they are stopping that model because they say, it will be it will be a very hard situation in terms of security for many, many products, not small ones, but I mean mid and big ones, big companies. So again, get your security right from day one that you are hitting the mainnet. The community side, it's another key thing in Web3, especially if you are doing B2C. But even if you are doing B2B, if you have a token out there, whether it's an NFT collection or a fungible token, community, it's everything, if you want to do it right. So there is no shortcuts when building community. I understand it's hard because it's kind of like another job. So you have your product job, you have your sales job, you have your team management job, and then community is another job. So if you're launching a token, you need to know that that's a full-time job. If you do not have the time, find someone that you trust or try to bring a partner to the project that you trust that'll be managing the community. If not, having a token, NFT collection, fungible token, even you do everything right and it has an amazing utility and an amazing branding and amazing tokenomics, it won't work. Web3 projects are community based, I would say. So it's important that whatever kind of project you are doing, if it involves launching a token, work on community as much as you work on security. All right. And again, if you're doing B2B, they might not be interested in the utility of those tokens because they are for B2B companies, but they will definitely want to be informed and they want to be part of the success and everything you're building. The third thing, and a very important one, is UX. So user experience is always important. It's not just Web3. But we need to know that in Web3, we are adding a layer of complexity. We are adding a DLT. So you will have all the issues that any Web2 app has, but you will get, wallets. So if you want to connect to an app, you first need a wallet. So it's a big thing. It's an important step. So whether you work with users that already have a wallet, or you need to find or figure out a way to, get them a wallet in an easy way. And there are two options, or whether you partner with a wallet provider, and so you kind of like recommend that wallet, or you can also use some options such as Web3 Auth, for example, which uses MPC, and you can sort of create a wallet that it's a private key that it's divided in different pieces, and it's an easy way for non-savvy crypto savvy users of getting started in a simple way. Um, Same thing with signatures. And then if they are not using Web3 Auth, for example, and they are getting a new wallet from Hashback or Kabila Wallet or MetaMask, um, they will need to store that key. And from our experience, this is a lot of it's a big friction. It's a big source of pain and issues and problems. So I would recommend, if you're not working with experienced Web3 users, try to work with Web3 Auth and let them forget about storing their private keys and seed phrases, because they will lose them. They will share them. They will get hacked. They'll be coming at you, whether you are not, or the where it's not your fault. They'll be just coming at you and asking, what happened. I connected to your tab and somehow something happened. So again, try to not let the users work with key storage if they are not crypto savvy users that already have their wallets. So these boring parts, from our experience, we know that the onboarding experience, the authentication experience, the payment experience, the on fiat, the on ramp and off ramp, fiat to crypto, crypto to fiat platforms. Those are normally the less sexiest things to work on, boring stuff, and a lot of times we see that that's the last part that you kind of like add when the main product is ready, and it shows. You instantly see when a Web3 project has been spending time on the user experience, and it makes a massive difference getting this right from the very beginning. It can make a big difference. So those are the main three things. There are other things, of course. Then you can also get into DeFi strategies, and then you can get also into interoperability with other chains, and there are many other things. But these three things, security, community, and UX, I would say they are the main things that you need to focus on compared to simply a Web2 product. Yeah. So yeah, this is what we talk about security. Um, this is what we mentioned about community and UX. This is a good quote. Like onboarding is a feature, not a checklist. Like onboarding has to be not a feature, but one of the main features that you work on. Okay, and try to get that right from the very beginning, um, because again, it's one of the key things when building on a product. All right, so now on Hedera Token Service or HTS, this is one of the things why we love building on Hedera. As you know, Hedera has something called, the Hedera native services. So you have some services that are native to the protocol, to the network, such as the Hedera consensus service for topics, such as the Hedera token service for tokens. And you also have the Hedera smart contract service, or the smart contracts on the network, the Hedera file service. This is one of the most used ones, the Hedera token service, along with the consensus service. And we love it because of the simplicity. Um, well, let's go and check. First thing is they make tokens a very core part of building something, which is at the end of the day one of the key things. And the good thing is you have SDKs in different languages, so you don't need to know like, Solidity. I know this was a more challenging thing before AI. Now with AI, no, you can, whether you know or not Solidity, you'll be able to get a smart contract there. But one thing is getting the smart contract there, and then the other thing is understanding. And again, if you are deploying a smart contract, you are going to really want to understand what you're putting in the code. So if you are a user experience with JavaScript or Go, um, you will love working with the SDKs of Hedera. So now that's an important thing. Then the other thing, for example, is there are fees in general, not just with the data token service, but there are fees, and we will see now. They are predictable. They are cheap, but most important, they are fixed to the USD value. So it's not that, based on the gas and, how much the network is being used in a specific moment, you get higher or less, or lower fees. It's just, that minting an NFT, it's always going to be 0.02 cents of a dollar. So that is super key, super important in any business when you have to do cost prediction. You want to know how much is going to cost something. And because if not, let's say you make a plan and then the network gets a lot of demand and gets saturated, and then you suddenly have a business that it's not profitable. It's as crazy as that. And this is one of the things I think Edera, it's one of the best networks out there, if not the best. And another good thing, especially if you are working with NFTs, is the enforced royalties. Okay, if you have what we mentioned, no, if you're launching an NFT collection, Hedera enforces the royalties on a protocol level, so you won't have to, be trying to get the marketplaces, to apply the right royalties or not. All marketplaces, all protocols, they will be applying royalties because of the protocol. So, and we will see now this as well. We will go through some examples, but Setting up and managing a token on Hedera is very simple. So you can just create a token with token creation function or method, sorry. Then you can use token mint. And so for every time you're doing actions on top of a token, whether it's a fungible token or an NFT collection, you will have some keys that you need to set up when you set up the token. So this is very simple once you understand it, and it gives a lot of control and flexibility over the tokens you launch. And this, of course, is transparent when you are purchasing a token through the wallet or through the DEX or through the app. You will be able to see which token keys are this token has set. So, for example, if you know and you see that that token has a supply key, let's say that you can see that right now they are 1,000 NFTs minted on that collection and the max supply is 3,000. If they have a supply key, you know that they'll be able to mint more tokens until they reach the max supply. After that, they won't. But if they have this key, they have that ability. And they will also be able to burn existing NFTs, but with this key, only if those NFTs are in their wallet, in the treasury wallet, the wallet of the owner of the collection. If they are in your wallet, they won't be able to burn them unless they have the wipe key. So for example, this is a key that people normally see as a dangerous one, because if a token has this key, the owner of the collection, they could burn or wipe, let's say, a token from your account. So even if it's in your account, the owner of the collection could remove that token. So again, when you are creating a token, do not use token keys that are not needed for your use case. It's not the more the best, the better. I would say the opposite. The opposite. Try to use the less token keys as possible. The pause key, what it does is it pauses the transfers of the token, all collection, all NFTs. If you pause that, no one will be able to move any tokens. So this is again another important one. Then you have freeze key. So what you can do with this one is, let's say a hacker stole, 5 NFTs from one guy's account. So if you have this key, you could see that those NFTs are now on the account, on the hacker's account, and you could freeze that account from moving those NFTs. So, okay, you cannot force that account to send those back, but you can negotiate now. Like, okay, look, we have freezed your account. We know, you got those NFTs, so uh, let's negotiate. Like, okay, you're not going to be selling them. Maybe we can give you something, but well, so this is again things that it might have some benefits, but on the other side, people might not like that you have that sort of control. Okay, whether on top of the NFTs they hold. Then the KYC key. This is a key that it creates. If you have kind of like you can give KYC to a specific account and you can remove it. So if you have provided KYC to a specific account, they can move or manage those tokens or transfer those tokens. Or if you remove the KYC, then they cannot. Okay. So again, this is specific for, use cases where you need compliance or you need, users that need to go through a KYC process. Um, so this is kind of like a comparison chart. But again, what we mentioned, those costs per transaction, they are predictable, denominated in dollars. A smart contract, they are variable, they're based on gas. Also, the throughput of HTS is at least 10,000 transactions per second. This is the current throughput per the per shard, and what we have right now is as the throttle. In smart contracts, this is lower. The setup complexity in an HTS, it's literally seconds, not even minutes. I will show now, how we can create one token very quick. Whether it's smart contract, you need to, get into Solidity, get the code, deploy the smart contract, and ideally audit that. You don't need to audit anything on Hedera because it's protocol level. And so, you know that if you deploy a token, it's already well coded in the protocol. Whether if you are launching a smart contract, the code is your liability. Again, royalty enforcement, and then flexibility. I would say you have more flexibility with a smart contract, or at least a bit more. But I would say for most of use cases, keys will cover, I mean, more than cover what you need, and they're much easier to manage. So yeah, I mean, I would say if you're building on Hedera and you don't need cross-chain stuff, I would try to just go for Hedera token service, especially if you are going to provide a product or an or experience for users where you are going to be um, creating the wallets for the users with Web3 Auth or other solutions, and they are not going to be expert users. I think in those cases, I think it makes more sense to build everything on top of HTS, because it's going to make simplify things for your project. All right, so if now anyone has any questions or anything, any feedback that they want to give or something, I'll be happy to help that. Before, I just wanted to show you, some of the things that I talked about. So if anyone wants to start taking a look on how to create a collection and how easy it is, we have tools.kabila.app. So they can come here to NFT creation. They can connect their wallet. I already connected my wallet. I have it here. So yeah, this is the Kabila wallet. And I have this is kind of like my social wallet, so everyone knows, this is my wallet on Hedera. Um, and now I have here some NFTs. These are NFTs, for example, that I have created. These are from Kabila, the Siwas. So I've connected this wallet, and now if I wanted to create a new collection, I will click on create a new collection. And the first thing is to create what we call it's called the token ID. The token ID is kind of like the box. So when you're creating an NFT collection, you first need to get the box. So that's the token ID. So you get a box with an identifier, unique identifier on the network. Every time you create a token, it will grow this number. So it's always like a new specific unique token ID. And you will get a void box, nothing inside. And you will have to define the max supply. Okay, what's going to be the size of the box? So if you have a 100 max supplies, or your box is going to be bigger. And then the minted supply, you could start the collection and already have NFTs minted right away, or just have a void box and then mint NFTs whenever you want, however you want. All right. So this is kind of like how it works. It's just a box when you create a collection, and then you have to mint NFTs in top of that box or within that box until you reach the max supply. Then you cannot mint more NFTs. When you mint NFTs, you will have to define the image or the media file. You will have to define the metadata, which is the file name, description, metadata details, attributes, attached files, etc. And every NFT, they can be the same or they can be different. What's always going to change is the unique serial number. That's the difference between NFTs and fungible tokens. There's always going to be, different NFTs. Um, so, okay, thanks, Alba. Good to see you. Good to see you around, man. And best of luck for HBank. I know you're building something huge, and you put in a lot of effort and energy. So I really hope that it's successful, and that anything I can help you, just you know where to find me. And so let's just create a quick collection. Let's say, for example, for this CWAS collection, the symbol normally it's something short like SWS or whatever. The max supply this is something you cannot change later. And this is where it comes the strategy of your collection. The third step of what we discussed, that there were five. So let's say I'm going to create a very scarce collection, and something that it's very rare, and I'm going to give just 300 pieces a maximum. All right. Um, you could also define infinite supply. And then the token keys, what we mentioned. The supply key, we put it here as required. It's not that it's required by protocol, but we normally leave it because you want to mint NFTs on top of that collection. If not, you can just go and set up 300,000 NFTs and just mint all of them on one shot. But then all the other keys are something that you'll need to define if you need or not. My recommendation, just leave the supply key. Maybe if you need some others, make sure that it's something you really need for your project. Okay. And very important, take care with the fee schedule key. Um, well, at least with the KYC key. Okay. Because if you create a KYC key, you will have to have a software or some way of controlling giving KYC and removing KYC. Otherwise, anyone will be able to move the NFTs. And finally, there's the royalties. Okay, so you can add royalties to that NFTs within that collection or not. And you can add royalties to one account or several accounts. For example, let's say, okay, I want to give royalties to, this account, which is the company or the project main account, and we want to give 5%. But then we want to give to this account, which is the designer account. We got an agreement and we said we're going to give you 2% royalties. Okay, so you can set that as you want. Sometimes we've seen a team of founders and there are five, so 1%, 1%, 1%. So it's clear that you know what they'll be getting. What normally we see is that the maximum rate is 10%. I think that's a big one because then you have the normally 2 to 3% commission on the marketplaces. So on top of that, adding 10%, it's a lot. I would recommend something normally between 5 and 7% total per collection. So something like this could make sense. So you click on continue. And now this is the token keys. As the same way as when you're creating an account, you get a seed phrase or a private key that gives you access to that account. When you create a token collection, you get a specific private key uh, for being able to use those keys, to be able to burn tokens, to wipe tokens, to mint tokens. If you don't have that key or you lose that key, you will lose the ability to perform those actions. So normally, by default, the keys that are going to be the key that's going to be used for these token keys, we use the same that you have in your account, the account that you're logged with. So it's simpler for you. Of course, we don't see that, but what we do is that you sign that we will be using the account private key for the token key. Or if you want, you could do two things. Or sorry, this is what you could do. You could use a new one. So for example, you could get a new supply key different from your private key, and then store this. Very important. If you lose it, you lose the ability to mint new NFTs, and then just have a different one rather than the same one. Okay. So for now, we're going to just give the same one. Continue. Then we have the fees from the platform and the network fix. What I mentioned that is something that is fixed. Okay, in this case is $1.2 and 1.9 from the platform. So total is almost three something dollars. Okay, continue. And then here take a look at the transaction. This is Kabila wallet, and then you click on approve. Okay. Now I'm gonna show you the fees one. Let me show you. So congratulations, your new NFT collection has been created. Look how easy it is. You already have a box. Now the box it's empty, but we have the token ID. Okay, so write that down. Of course, I can confirm that I copied my token ID. Okay, done. Now let's see how we can create a new NFTs on that collection. So first, okay, on top of in which collection do you would like to create NFT? So okay, I want to add those NFTs to this collection I recently created. Okay, so it provides the details, the name of the collection we just created, the token ID, the max supply 300, how many NFTs are there? 0, so we have up to 300 to mint, and the royalties. Okay, and which are the public keys. Okay, so let's say now we want to mint 10 NFTs. So you can create them all identical, all the same, or we could create them different. Okay, if they are different, it will prompt you to upload all the files from a folder. If they are the same, identical, it will just drop the image, define the metadata, add the attributes, add the files, and then all be the same. Okay. So again, it's a very simple process. I recommend everyone who is going to be launching a Web3 project and are thinking in creating a collection or community building with tokens to at least take a look to the NFT creation tool. Okay. Then there are others. The Art Engine, it's a tool for creating PFP collections. As you know, the collections such as these sort of collections, that like just PFP or dead pixels, those sort of collections. So it's a tool that allows you to upload your art, your layers, order those layers, define rarity, all do all the stuff, and generates the collection for you ready to mint. Then we also have tools like the Launchpad. So this is what I was mentioning. It's a tool that you can create your own company. This is like an example that is in the latest stage. But you could say, okay, which NFTs do you want to put for sale? The information of the Launchpad, the banner, the photos, the team members, design the whole thing. You can define the public sale, and then if you want, you can add a private sale. And in the private sale, you can define how many private stages do you want to add. So you could say, okay, one stage or two stages. And for every stage, you need to define the access details. So, okay, this stage, if the public is starting at, I don't know what time, okay, public mint date, sorry, it's 29th at 9 a.m. The private stage needs to start before that. Okay, so if it's 29, you cannot start later than that. So it'll be, let's say, 2 hours before. Okay, we will have a private stage, and we will be the access to that stage. It can be through a token. So if I hold an NFT or a fungible token, I'll be able to join that stage, or through account. If I am the owner of a specific account ID that I am in the whitelist, I'll be able to access that stage. So for this case, let's say, just very quick, like for example, just PFPR, this is the token ID. All right. So let's copy it from here. So in order to access this stage, you need to be a just PFP NFT holder. If you are an NFT holder, you will be, sorry, you need to add that token. So if you have one of these NFTs, you will be able to mint up to 3 NFTs at a discounted price of 50 H bar. And you need to have at least you could say only one, or you need to have at least 3 NFTs to get access to this mints. All right. So this is one sort of access. Then you can define different access. You can define by account, stuff like that. Okay. So I'm not going to go through all the tools, but I just want to let you know that here you have almost all tools. The token manager lets you, when you created a token, I just lost the token I just created. 1 second. Well, it doesn't matter. But if you add here the token, it will show you with a list of different token keys that you set up in the token creation, and it will let you perform those actions on top of that token, like burning tokens or wiping, KYC stuff like that. And then finally, 2 important tools: the bulk sender, one of the most used tools, so you can send hundreds or thousands of NFTs from a specific collection. Let's say I have this is scam collection. Huh? It's good to have scam collections for these sort of things. So you could come here and say, okay, I want to send. I mean, you can copy and paste from an Excel table. And then here you could come and check, okay, so I want to this account, I want to send these 2 NFTs. To this account, I want to send these other NFTs. And then again, you could copy and paste. These are rows and table and columns, and you could copy and paste, if you have an Excel with all your details, with the serial numbers and the accounts that go to every NFTs that go to each account, and it will be in a minute you'll be able to define a lot of NFTs to different accounts and then send thousands of NFTs with Hedera. And finally, the multi-signature tool to create multi-signature accounts. Important, especially if you are managing a company treasury account that is going to store a good amount of tokens or funds. So I think if you are serious about building stuff in Web3, you should always understand how to use a multi-sig account. So creating is very simple. You need to define, okay, what is the amount of signatures for every multi-sig account. For example, I want to have an account that, okay, we need three signatures out of, sorry. This is the amount of signatures or accounts that will be part of these multi-sig. So let's say there will be five people and the threshold it's three. So every time we need to sign anything, at least three of us, or maybe one can have two, and then you can define it as you want. We'll need to sign something, and then you can just copy and paste the account IDs that will be part of this multi-sig account, or you just use a public key. Okay, whatever you prefer. Yeah, then once you have it, then you'll be able to see, okay, out of five, three at least need to sign. Security level. So again, if we increase here these to 8 and we add a threshold of 5, then of course it still says medium, but of course it's safer. All right. Let's say, for example, threshold it's 7 and this is 10. This, of course, a very high security level. Okay, if someone loses the access to their account, you still have a lot of people. And again, it's not like someone can go crazy and just do whatever. It requires some sort of agreement before making any operation with this account. Once you have that account, then you can create transactions. So you define the multi-sig account. I don't recall. Let's say this one. So here you could say, okay, we can create a transaction of the type transfer HBARs or transfer other tokens, HTS tokens, um, or transfer NFTs or associate token or update account keys. Okay, and this account requires 2 out of 4 signatures to authorize transactions. So once you create this transaction, it would generate a specific unique code, and that lasts for, I don't remember the time, but it's something like 1 or 2 minutes. And then you need to send them to the different people that will be signing the transaction. So people will come here, paste the code, and sign with their accounts. And then after they reach the threshold, the operation will be signed. Okay. So sorry for going through all this, but I think it's an important thing. If you're building on Web3, you definitely need to understand how multi-sig accounts work. Maybe not at the very beginning, but especially when you're starting to manage a company treasury with funds, whether it's NFTs or fungible tokens. Then this is just documentation. For example, here we have a documentation page. So maybe if you have any questions or any doubts, here there are more. We explain, most of these things in a simple way. Well, this is just want to show the marketplace. This is one of the tools that we build. It's a fully custom marketplace. Here, we can just buy or we can make an offer. So these are different tools we build. We offer this marketplace as a white label service. So we are now offering these market solutions to other companies. We just, of course, change the layout and use the branding of the other company. But the whole engine of the market, which is battle tested already, it's something we are offering. And yeah, I mean, just wanted to show you this. This is what I was mentioning before, the Web3 Auth. If you haven't checked this out, definitely check these for account creation and sign in. And it's one of the most user-friendly solutions for solving the user onboarding problem when they are not Web3 savvy or Web3 experts and that have already an account or a wallet. And I think this is also one of the most secure options. There's also what was called, I don't recall the name, but there was another one. Now I know that they are more secure, but at the beginning it was kind of like a centralized solution. But Web3 it's fine, okay? And they are by MetaMask now. So, and finally the fee calculator, okay? What I was mentioning, if you want to know if you have a project and you know how many transactions more or less you're going to be having, you could come here and say, okay, it's going to be a consensus service where I'm going to be writing on a topic, or it's going to be a token service like what we were talking about, where I'm going to be creating new collections. And once I have those collections, I'm going to be minting, let's say, token mint, non-fungible tokens. And here you know that, okay, if I'm going to be minting NFT collections and I'm using this service, it's going to cost me 2 cents of dollar. All right. And you can even make a quotation of if we are doing 1,000 NFTs per week, I know it's going to be a total cost of $20 per this service via network. This is very powerful, and one of the things we love Hedera, and it's very simple to calculate, so you can have a cost prediction very easily and very quick. All right, so yeah, it's been a lot. So any questions, or if anyone wants to add something, I'll be happy to respond.
Yeah, sure. Thanks so much for that wonderful sharing menu. So that was a really productive session. The workshop was thoughtful. Thanks for that, and really encouraging to learn about Web3 and tokenization. So, guys, there are 4 more workshop sessions with our special mentors. Let's all do this together. And also, this is not the last time that you'll be able to connect with Manu, as he mentioned. He's always there. So he's on Slack. You can find him on our general channel under the Incubator. If you have any follow-up questions or thoughts after today's workshop, please feel free to reach out to me. Okay. And on Monday, we'll be having our next workshop, tackling Hedera integration. All right. Now, I'll open the floor for Q&A session. We have 24 more minutes. Let's go, guys. Yes, Jason. You can see the question, man, right?
Yeah, the one from
Okay.
Jason.
That's right.
All right, and one slide says to not add recurring costs in the beginning. We had some users express they were hesitant to interact with the product because we didn't show revenue. Revenue orientation, or maybe saying for early users we are waiving all revenue sources. When you mean not showing revenue, you mean the pricing? If it's related to pricing, I would definitely add pricing. Yes, I mean the clearer it is the pricing in your product, the easier it will be for yeah for everyone to understand what's going to be the cost. And I always think you should be showing the pricing. Yeah. Um, I have lost the access to the chat and can't see the questions longer. One second.
How is it? Okay, that's fine. I think we only have Jason for now who asked a question, and Dennis did say that you have a beautiful UX throughout the website, application,
Thank
etc.
you.
So yes.
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Jason, another question. When launching an NFT, should we be offering long-term rewards for our product? Or is it more about focusing on the NFT itself?
So long-term rewards. So when launching NFTs, one key thing that you need to consider is if you're going to be offering utility and benefits, not financial returns. Okay, that's a security. Okay, you need to be very careful on how you frame your offering. But of course, if you're going to be offering utility, you need first, I would always recommend, make it simple and, under promise, over delivery. Get started with something that, for example, something as simple as access to a Discord group chat for holders. Okay, this is a good example. And then for example, what we did in Kabila at the beginning. I'm gonna see if I can show it, but in Kabila, I mean, it's no longer here. But oh, by the way, about the pricing, here we have the pricing. We even created a kind of like an app for showing the pricing of everything. Okay, so on creation, launches, so you can see directly the pricing. No, coming back to that question, the more transparent you are with the pricing, the less questions. The less questions, the higher conversion of your product. So try to have everything upfront in terms of the cost of using your platform. So in this page before, uh, for example, there was a few years where our NFTs, our official NFTs, were providing access, whether it was free access to some of the tools. For example, the book sender now is free for everyone. But at the beginning, the book sender, it had a cost. And so the holders of CWAS NFTs, these NFTs, and the KES NFTs, based on the amount of NFTs, they were getting almost or even free access or some sort of discounts. So we were able to provide that because we made some numbers and it was something like, okay, we know that maybe up to 15 people from all our clients are going to be getting free access. And that's something we can assume. And it's not going to cost us any extra resources every month. We already have a platform, so it's fine. It's just we want to compensate the users that help us buying the first NFTs. So when you're providing these benefits, make sure that they are not going to be crazy recurrent cost in time or money to your project. If you are providing or offering something that after launching the NFTs is going to cost you time, extra time, or at least a lot of time, or yeah, that you will need to deploy resources from your team to just be able to provide that utility or benefit, that can be definitely an issue. So try to provide something that is not going to be costing you a lot of time or money.
Great. Thanks so much for that, Manu. We actually have another question from Sebastian. Considering the token creation side, how would you handle the bridging element? Any tips or knowledge you would like to share?
The bridging from one chain to another, and it's a good question. Um, so right now, the I don't know if you've heard of it, but the main thing that it's solving, it's gonna solve this problem is the Clipper protocol that was presented by Hashgraph in the last HederaCon in Miami just a few weeks ago, and they introduced Clipper, okay, the bridgeless cross-ledger protocol, and they, Mans Harmon and Limon, they were saying that this is as important as even as the Hashgraph consensus. Like this is going to be a very important protocol. So what this is going to make is going to remove. It's going to be a trustless protocol for moving tokens from or assets from one chain to another. And I know this is in early stages, but it is now being already laid on. And probably this year we'll probably see the first. I believe that we'll see the first use cases in action and live. But again, this is going to make, this is going to solve one of the main problems of fragmenting liquidity and assets between chains. So the idea is, it doesn't matter what chain are you going to be using. Through the Clipper protocol, you will be able to send NFTs or tokens without having to rely on a third party that you need to trust, which is kind of like the main issue today. For example, Hashboard has been a good protocol, but now they are stopping operations. So, they have mentioned that they are announcing that they will be stopping operations, but there are still a million or $2 million in tokens that, once Hashboard shut down operations in May 31, so it's just 4 days, they will be lost forever. So this is what Clipper is going to be solving. So we won't rely anymore on third-party centralized entities. It will be something native to the different chains and as a protocol. So yeah, take a look and follow very closely Clipper. The Hashgraph team and the Here team are going to be working very hard. So any questions or anything, I mean, just try to stay in touch with the Hashgraph team or the builders on Hedera that are going to be probably integrating this protocol.
Wonderful. Thanks for that, Manu. Okay, but before I proceed to Dennis' question, I just want to mention that we have an assignment for this, and the deadline will be on May 31st, Sunday. The question is, please share whether your project has considered launching either a fungible token, FT, or an NFT collection. If yes, kindly elaborate on the following. Which type of token are you considering launching, FT, NFT, or both? What are the 2 to 3 main reasons behind this decision? What utility value or benefits will these tokens provide to your users or community? And also, please be specific and practical as possible in your responses. So this is our assignment for this workshop. You can see all these details and the submission guidelines on our Slack channel. So you can always just go to the Hedera Incubator General. You'll be able to see all this. Okay. Now I'll proceed into Denny's question. Manu, this is NFT often attract flippers. How to keep access to true early adopter and power users only? or everyone's invited and they can ask when token as much as they
Sorry, could you repeat that last one, please?
think,
Can
or
you repeat
everyone
that last one, Charlene?
yep. Uh, or everyone is invited and they can ask when token as much as they want.
So if I understood correctly, so when launching an NFT collection, if anyone can buy as many NFTs as they want, or there should be a limit.
Dennis, if you want to, you can raise your hand. You can actually talk in this call. Then it will be allowing you to speak. If not, you can also chat on the chat again to clarify or maybe expand their question.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
Have you seen it?
I mean, I was lost on a corner. Sorry. I finally have access to the chat. So, Dennis,
Okay.
good question. Um, yes, yeah, flippers and I mean flippers, and then people that are going to try to just join the project and just for profits. This is going to happen. Web3 has a financial layer that some will use to create stuff and to build good stuff, and some of the people will just try to use it as to make money. And this is part of the game. So you need to understand that you will be attracting flippers if you do it right. Not if you do it wrong, if you do it right. Like if you create a project that is successful and you communicate it well and it's solving a problem and it's useful for people, you will attract actual real users, but you will also get flippers, and because flippers are looking for good projects as well, and so they don't care how good your project is. They care that it's a good project, and they understand that if they get early to that, they will be able to then make a profit. Now, to your question, how you can keep access to true early adopters and power users only. So when we started very small with, again, a Discord with 300 people. We launched 100 NFTs, but those 400 NFTs, half of them were invite only, were whitelisted. And for those whitelists, we picked them manually, the ones that we were seeing that they were active on Discord, that they were showing support, that they were. And I would say this is one of the most important things that can make a difference in your community. The fact that you identify the ones that are helping build a community, that are helping you, or other community members in your company or in your community, identifying those and letting them know that you see them, and just maybe giving them a small reward like a whitelist to an early access. If you do that, you will leverage the community in a way that you can imagine, how powerful that can be. Because they will also have, they will already have skin in the game when they buy the NFT. So it's important, this question, it's very important. And so you always need to have an eye, and you always need to be to follow very clearly, to follow very closely the most active users and the loyal ones, and give them everything you can, and when it makes sense, they just don't go crazy. But and then the flippers, they'll be flipping, but that's fine. That creates volume, and volume is good for everyone. Um, but yeah, I mean, try to forget about the flippers and focus on the true early adopters.
Great. Thanks so much for that, Manu. Yeah, Ethan, just say that thank you for the great presentation. Uh, anyone would like to ask from Apex Audit? Not everyone? Okay. I guess they're still digesting what they have learned. And as I mentioned, you can still catch Manu on Slack. So if you have any other questions, yeah. Oh, okay. From Jason, how would you get the word out about the NFT?
So, in order to get the word out about the NFT, um, first thing, you know, spend some. I mean, you need to spend. I mean, Twitter is the place, or X is the place in Web3. I would say even more than important than Discord, it's X. So start building your brand on X, and but most important, start building your personal brand as a community, as a project founder, because you'll get a lot more engagement and you'll be seen a lot more. So start talking about your project. Start talking about what you're building. Start sending DMs. I mean, I would say DMs with other project founders. It's one of the most important things you can grow in Web3. Making real friends with other projects, with other NFT founders, with other Web3 founders, jump on calls with them, interact with them. It's a process that takes time. It's an investment. But this is how you get into the community. And then whenever you are posting something or whenever you're presenting something, you will get engagement, you will get interactions, and then you will get attention. So before even thinking on launching the NFT, start generating that content, start interacting with other founders, with other accounts, and make that a regular process. After you have at least 300 to 500 followers, then you can start considering launching some NFTs. But the first time you launch NFTs, make it, less than 100 NFTs or 150. And if you have to start with 50 or 30, it's fine. Eh? I mean, it's totally fine. You always can. I mean, this is I think something people always confuse. Like, you can always have different batches. Like we have sold 7,000 NFTs since we started, and we started with 100. The second batch was another 200, and the third batch was another 300. And then we waited like 7 or 8 months until we launched 1,000 NFTs or something like that. No, 750. So as we have been growing, and we also saw that the market sentiment was good, because market sentiment in this space is important. We were, growing the supply of the NFTs. But in order to get the word out about the NFT, again, you need to have your one pager, and 2 weeks, and this is very important, 2 weeks before launch day, you need to be everywhere. It's a crazy work, or especially the last week before mint day. You need to have a plan, like this day we will be announcing a partnership with this partner. This day we'll be doing an airdrop. This day we'll be doing this. Every day I'll be reaching via DM a lot of different community founders or important persons. I'll be sharing with them a whitelist, but in a good way. Like, you cannot do that if you haven't had a real call with them before, because if not, it will feel weird. You really need to make friends. I know this sounds like a lot of work, but it's something that really creates one of the most important strategic pillars of your company, which is having a real community. And again, it doesn't have to be thousands of people. If you have 100 real connections within a community like Hedera, you have one of the most important assets. And then it's making friends, which is good, and then having connections and people you can rely on, and people that will definitely teach you a lot of stuff. So make the community, make a lot of friends, and then once you have those friends, create a good one pager and move it along every day for 2 weeks before launch day, so everyone knows that on day, like for example, here is not the day of the launch, which is it's a problem, okay? But everyone needs to know that, this day on May 2023 at 6 p.m. UTC, there will be 15 minutes for private sale, then 15 minutes for public sale, and then it will be over. And this is where you will be able to get the NFTs. This will be the total pieces and sales price. For example, this is something that we'll be announcing in the future. So move it as much as you can, this one pager, to get the word out.
Man, I'm sorry, when you say that you have to push it out everywhere, well, at least for Pavilla, where do you usually push it out? Is it on your socials, LinkedIn, on your Discord?
I mean, yes, and most of the times, any updates or any things that we do, it's on Twitter, on X.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
This is
All right.
especially on Hedera, this is the place where, almost everything happens. So if you are building a product on Hedera, you need to be on X, and you need to be connected with the main players and accounts. For example, I mean, you should definitely know Will from Dead Pixels. You should definitely try to reach them out. They will probably not collaborate because they kind of like have a very they care a lot about their brand, but they'll maybe I mean maybe they collaborate in other ways. What I'm saying is that they do not normally attach their brand to other brands, but they definitely will be collaborating. They are very active. And yeah, try to find other like Ed, for example, from Hashgraph. Paul is also another very active guy in the community. So the ruler is another one. And again, it's not a lot of people, but these people, if you look at the ruler, for example, it has 10K followers, and you can find a way to partner with them. But again, before making any business proposals or partner proposals or whatever, make a friend. Like these are nice people. They're all H barbarians. They love the technology. They love being on Hedera. They've been here for years. So try to genuinely build a connection and make a friend before, if you do that, then after a few weeks, you have a project announcement or something, and you ask them, "Hey, how do you think we can do this?" And for example, that ruler, he has a podcast. Sorry, no, the ruler, no, that was sorry. The ruler is doing a lot of spaces on X. Spaces is also a very important place to be. And then finally, yeah, yeah. But again, and you say, okay, who do we need to follow, or who are the guys that we need to be connecting with? Start by following the main accounts, like for example, the Pixels, Hashgraph, Kabila, SouthSwap, Centex, and you will see who reacts to those accounts, and then you will start to see who are those guys, and then after that the algorithm will eventually show you all people within the community data. And again, we're not a lot of people, but that's also a good thing. Maybe we are like 1,000 or 2,000 active users, but this is plenty of people if you're launching an NFT collection, if you do the right work before launching.
Great, great sharing. Thanks so much. For any one of you who haven't really created an X account for your own project, please do so because this will be very important. And this will also connect to what I'm going to share that we'll be tackling on June 3rd. We'll be tackling about marketing itself. So this will be in conjunction on the next week's topic. So thanks so much, Manu, for sharing that. And then, Manu, if you mind sharing me your Calendly, if you have any availabilities within next week, for example, say a 30-minute session just for a quick answer for those questions that we'll be receiving, please let me know and then I'll coordinate it with all the teams. Okay,
All right, perfect. Yeah, I
great.
will.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and
Okay,
thank you everyone who's been, up to here and listening. And again, if there's anything I can do, anything I can help with, from founder to founders, I love to help, to anyone who is building stuff. I know it's a hard journey, so anything I can do, I'd love to work with and help with.
wonderful. Thank you so much for that. I know that all our participants really love to hear that. And I just wanted to check if Dennis of Torch, are you here? You're still here. I can still see you. If I can have you in the call for at least 1 to 2 minutes, it's just for a quick social interviews. And then this is also what we're going to share with your X and LinkedIn so that everyone would know that we are participating in this incubator and definitely will be tagging Hedera. So that will be a good tap for you as well. So once we post this, once we tag your team, you can just repost it as and when needed. Okay. So for all the teams that haven't called yet for the interview, I'll be calling you once again in the next few workshops I will be having so that you have your own interviews as well. All right. So for everyone, thank you so much. Apart from you, Dennis, I'll just need to hold you for another 1 to 2 minutes. It will be very quick. Manu, thank you so much. I'll see you again on Slack, offline, or whenever you're available. For everyone, I'll see you again on Monday. That's on June 1st. We'll be having a workshop about Hedera integration. All
All right,
right. Good job, everyone. Thank you.
perfect.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Charlene. Thank you, everyone. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you.